If all the politics talk lately has had you dreaming of a Trump-free summer getaway, you better keep dreaming. As my next guest tells it, no matter where you go in the world, the Trump talk is sure to follow. Boston Globe travel writer Christopher Muther joins me on that, and I hope some sorely needed summer excursion ideas. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Let's start on the good. You asked your readers, very respectful of you, by the way.
Thank you.
To suggest to you or vote or something what their favorite beach towns were. Before we give the results, what were the criteria for selection? What were the instructions?
The instructions were essentially, the idea is there's lots of lists of best beaches. We wanted best beach towns. So the best town that has, of course the beaches, but also the restaurants, the clam shacks, the ice cream places, the ideal quintessential New England towns. And normally I tell people all of these things. I don't listen to what people suggest. So this time I said, you tell me.
That's a beautiful thing. Let's do it in reverse order. Number 5 was Ogunquit, Maine. Number 4, Wellfleet, where I spent a lot of my life. Provincetown 3, where I also have Dennis came in number 2, which I shouldn't have said Dennis,
yeah,
but I was surprised.
What's the deal?
And number 1 was?
Number 1 was Narragansett, Rhode Island.
Why? And were you surprised?
I was shocked.
Why?
I was really expecting it was going to be a town on the Cape. Narragansett, however, which is the beauty of this, I got to go and check it out. 4 beautiful beaches right in town. It has the great clam shack. It has like those quirky Rhode Island foods, like doughboys and clam cakes.
They're good for you too.
Yeah.
Really
so it's a fun, cute little town.
What would you have picked?
I would have picked a town called Ocean Park in Maine.
What is it called?
It's called Ocean Park.
In Maine?
In Maine, yes.
Where would that be exactly?
So it's just south of Old Orchard Beach in Maine. It's like a very quiet, sleepy little town. It's where I grew up going to the beach, and so I have fond memories.
So you essentially
Or Provincetown. I have fond memories there, too, but
there.
We'll talk about that later.
So you have contempt, basically, for what your readers decide. Is that correct?
That's not true
Is that what you just said?
I love readers.
I'm sure you do. Another rating thing that I thought was interesting, TripAdvisor, which was in the news recently for another reason. Here's a quiz. Why was the CEO of TripAdvisor in the news about a week ago?
Where's the tray of rums?
Here's the end, though. That was a couple of visits ago.
Oh, sorry.
Because he makes a mere 481 times as much as is the median salary.
I forgot you were hung up on that.
I am hung up. So is Shirley Leung. That's where I read it, your colleague. So 4 New England towns made the top 10 hotspots, I believe is the expression, for the summer. What were they?
They were... they were Block Island, Bar Harbor.
You're nervous, you don't remember. Go
I
ahead.
remember.
What are they? Go ahead.
Listen to this. Block Island, Bar Harbor, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard.
And do you agree with that? I mean, are you okay with that?
Well, those choices were made based on the sudden rise in bookings over the spring. So that's why they were picked as hotspots. Those are all beautiful places. We have an embarrassment of riches here in New England. There's so many wonderful places to go to in the summer. So I'll diplomatically say those are all great places. So of course I agree.
Did I mention to you about the CEO making foreign? We did have that thing.
I thought that was your salary.
Now you, excuse me. Thank you very much. So we have moving along. You wrote a piece about a place that I've never heard of. I'm embarrassed to say. The Cook Islands.
Right.
And I think you said in your piece the reason to go there is because they have ukuleles made by prisoners? Is that what you said?
That's the reason why I said to go.
But that was one of the reasons,
wasn't it? I mean, it's like this. They have a tiny prison, and the prisoners make ukuleles.
Well, that's
and
nice.
It's kind of like a...
What are the other reasons?
The main reason to go, which has nothing to do with prison ukuleles, although that's the name of my next band, is the beaches are incredible. It's just it is a tropical paradise. And as you know, I have a discerning palate. I don't just throw around compliments lightly. No. So, but it is a paradise. It really is.
And does anybody go from New England, for example?
It's starting. So they're really making a push to bring in North Americans, which is why I tell people, go now before it's overrun with North Americans.
So speaking of go now, you went north to Canada.
I did.
Believe, was this not after the President of the United States insulted young Prime Minister Trudeau? Is that correct?
Exactly, or as I like to call him, a tall drink of maple syrup with piercing blue eyes.
Let me tell you, exactly. So what was the purpose of this trip?
So what I wanted to find out was how it would be for American travelers going to Canada this summer. Kind of what was the mood toward Americans, given that our president, essentially saying very insulting things toward Prime Minister Trudeau. And the other part of the piece that I really wanted to talk about was how, since the election, wherever I go in the world, the first question I generally get is about Donald Trump.
Is that really true? No matter where you go?
It's like a word association game. I say U.S., they say Trump. It always. So I'm now sort of on. I understand now. This is going to happen. So I always have topics ready to deter the conversation.
Do people hold it against you, though? When I went to France when Bush the Younger was president, I was treated really horribly. And when I went to France when Obama was president, I was treated really well. Is that anecdotal, or is that your experience?
I think that was true at that time. I think right now, what I was getting mostly was sympathy from other countries. I wasn't being, no one was targeting whatever their feeling was about Trump onto me. I think that's just starting to change, though. Okay. And I interviewed people for this story, and they said the same thing. It's just starting to seep in, like a tone of anger. It's gone from sympathy, slowly tilting.
You know, before you go, I was trying to see what am I going to do this summer. And last night I had Devin McCourty sitting there, a great patriot safety who's involved in social justice issues, which reminded me of your encounter with a patriot, obviously the great Rob Gronkowski.
Yes.
And you and I, when I first met you, talked about your time on the incredible Gronk cruise. Here's a little bit from that discussion right here.
He would give $10,000 to a couple that would come up and bang each other in front of...
I'm really glad you didn't use that word. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
In front of everyone. And I don't mean hit each other.
No, I think I knew what you
I can go a little more clear if you want me to,
No, it's
Jim.
fine.
Okay.
Now, do we know if anybody earned the $10,000?
I mean, how do you think I paid for the trip?
So I was hoping that I could go. Are they redoing it, do you know, or do you not know?
I think he's been banned from international waters.
Yeah, it's okay, fun. Christopher, it's great to see you. Thank you very much.
Likewise, thank
Turning
you.
red, I love that.